You are listening to Are You Ready Radio with Nick Pierce, the Barefoot Prepper. Find Are You Ready on Facebook and Instagram at Are You Ready Radio. You can also visit our home on the web. Just go to nickpiercemedia.com and click on the program's link. If you missed the live show, you can listen to the show's archives on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, CastBox, Deezer, and many more, including our home on Spreaker. When a disaster happens, are you ready? Do you have the supplies you need to keep you and your family safe and survive? The Zombie Outpost store in Wilmington, Ohio, at Cedar Creek Flea Market, stocks quality gear you need to be ready for the next emergency or even a camping trip. Visit zombieoutpoststore.com for location and hours. Check out our assortment of essentials you need when the next disaster happens. Go to zombieoutpoststore.com. Get 10% off at checkout when you mention Are You Ready Radio. Be ready and be prepared.
In this digital society, making connections is quickly becoming a lost art form. Yet, if you are a small business owner, building your network is the only way you can get ahead. Can these skills be learned? You bet they can. Read Nose to Nose Networking. No-nonsense, in-person networking tips from a master. Who's the master? Well, who better to teach networking and friend-building skills than a golden retriever? The author, Melanie Hope, takes the antics of Abigail and translates them into the human experience. Through Abby, you will learn how to set your intention, build a network, and get into and out of conversations with grace. If you love the Dog Abby segments on Counterculture-Wise Radio, you will love Nose to Nose Networking even more. Find it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble in hard copy, Kindle, and Nook. Visit counterculturewise.com for direct links.
Greetings and salutations, Counterculture-Wise listeners. This is Maximilian von Riegelbieser inviting you and yours to listen to me and mine. Join me, my sisters Abby and Fritzy, and my weekly guests, my father Jim and Mumsy Melanie, for Counterculture-Wise.
Max, it's not your show!
And we're not your guests, Max. We're the hosts. You may want to rein it in a little bit, buddy.
Very well. Tune in every Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific at counterculturewise.com for our amazing live variety show. You can even chat with us. If you ask me, though, it should be called Counterculture Max.
Counterculture Wise! Radio with heart in mind.
Got a spare tire around that waist? Is your muffin top over the top? Do you binge eat uncontrollably? We are the government and we are here to help you. Here at our free FEMA weight loss camp, we have numerous ways to help you shed those unsightly, unwanted pounds. FEMA, or Fatties Eating Mitigated, automatically has a communist-style weight loss czar that specializes in centralized weight loss planning and communal extended fasting programs to shed that fat away in no time. Skin and boned means extra toned is the motto. Just remember, there is no way you can do it on your own. We will forcefully assist you into compliance. Failure is not an option in this utopian wonderland. How fantastic. Typical workout regimes include digging ditches and restocking them with dirt, building railways and more. Get life skills while you get lean. How do you join? Simple. Recite the Constitution in a public commons or violate the Patriot Act that includes simple misdemeanors. It's really that easy to get your own fenced-in slice of Americana. Stop being a fatty. The state is your daddy.
If you like what you are listening to, we appreciate your support. A small contribution from you, the listeners, can continue to help bring you such content and help keep things going here, even if it's just $1 a month. Keep in mind, though, in the spirit of prepping, we believe in redundancy, so it's better to have more than one, but every little bit helps pay the bills. Go to nickpiercemedia.com and click on the Support the Show link. You can make a one-time or monthly contribution in any dollar amount. And again, thank you for your support and listening. Are You Ready is an NP Media Group production and is the official broadcast of the Zombie Outpost in Wilmington, Ohio. The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast are those of the host and not that of the station, advertisers, or its affiliates. You are listening to Are You Ready Radio with Nick Pierce, the Barefoot Prepper. You never know when an emergency is going to happen. Disaster can strike at any time. Whether stuck on the road, riding out a power outage, escaping a natural disaster, or surviving a doomsday apocalypse, what would you do? No matter the scale, whether 1 hour or 1 year, will you survive? You're about to hear what it takes to be prepared. Now ask yourself, are you ready? Have you ever heard the term prepper? What comes to mind? Some of you may think it's a crazy guy with a bomb shelter and an old army truck parked on the front lawn. Well, prepper simply is a person who is ready for almost any emergency, small or large. It's no different than on a rainy day taking an umbrella with you when you leave your home or putting a coat on when it's cold outside. So maybe you think you're prepared for a brief time in that environment. But what if a few minutes turn into a day or even a year? I'm your host, Nick Pierce, the Barefoot Prepper, and I'm going to use my over 25 years of prepping and survival experience and knowledge in this program to help you and your family prepare to handle almost anything from a small event from a doomsday apocalypse. So get ready, because I'm prepared to enlighten you to seriously think, prepare, and answer the question, are you ready? And I want to hear anything you have to say about the subject, whatever you may have to offer. You see, it's important that we share our knowledge with each other, learn from each other, and help each other out. You see, the more prepared those around us are, the better your chances of survival will be when a disaster happens. Now, I'm sure everyone has heard the term zombies. Well, those are just those that are not prepared and come after whatever you have. Well, the call-in number is 513-815-6336 if you want to be a part of the show. Again, that's 513-815-6336. Also, check out our live chat room on Spreaker. That's Spreaker, Spreaker.com. Just go to the Are You Ready show, search it right there in the search bar. You can get there live through the website, nickpiercemedia.com. I post exclusive content on the home of Are You Ready on Facebook and on Instagram. Just go to Are You Ready Radio. You can interact with other members of the prepping community before, during, and after our broadcast. So share your knowledge. And again, if you want to call, the call-in number is 513-815-6336. So, today's episode is about what if there are no police? Or, if there are police, what if the police don't show up or respond? So let's face it, over the past few years, there has been a decrease in the number of police across the country, and for a number of reasons. And I'll get into that in a bit. Also, even in the private sector, you may have noticed that due to whether it's staffing shortages or, because businesses have to cut back, reduced revenue that a business generates, and it has to cut operation costs, or not being able to find the people to fill those security jobs, security has not been the same as it was either. In the private business, who is watching? Who's ensuring the safety of the customers and the merchandise? And in public, who is patrolling, enforcing the laws, and responding when you need assistance, whether it's dealing with anything from a violent crime, an unruly neighbor, a home intruder, or someone vandalizing or trespassing on your property. So in this episode, I'm also going to talk about the legal side of it as well. Do the police really have a duty to protect you according to the law? Can you sue the police for not coming when called? In this episode, I'm also going to position myself in the middle of the gun control debate. I'm going to talk about some of the new trending topics with both pro and anti-gun laws, guns in schools, and I'm going to weigh in on Ohio becoming a constitutional carry state in just a few days from now, June 12th. That happens. It goes into effect in Ohio. Now, there's two other states as well that are going to be constitutional carry, joining some of the others in the country. Also, how this could either be a good thing or a bad thing. So we'll look into the numbers across the country and compare them to other constitutional carry states. And also, of course, 200 mass shootings, over 200 mass shootings that have happened this year alone. And, of course, I'm going to do all that and what to do when the police don't show up in this episode. Stick around. I'm Nick Pierce, the Barefoot Prepper. You're listening to Are You Ready Radio. Be right back. Find Are You Ready on Facebook and Instagram at Are You Ready Radio. You can also visit our home on the web. Just go to nickpiercemedia.com and click on the program's link. If you missed the live show, you can listen to the show's archives on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, CastBox, Deezer, and many more, including our home on Spreaker. When a disaster happens, are you ready? Do you have the supplies you need to keep you and your family safe and survive? The Zombie Outpost store in Wilmington, Ohio, at Cedar Creek Flea Market, stocks quality gear you need to be ready for the next emergency or even a camping trip. Visit zombieoutpoststore.com for location and hours. Check out our assortment of essentials you need when the next disaster happens. Go to zombieoutpoststore.com. Get 10% off at checkout when you mention Are You Ready Radio. Be ready and be prepared. If you like what you are listening to, we appreciate your support. A small contribution from you, the listeners, can continue to help bring you such content and help keep things going here, even if it's just $1 a month. Keep in mind, though, in the spirit of prepping, we believe in redundancy, so it's better to have more than one, but every little bit helps pay the bills. Go to nickpiercemedia.com and click on the Support the Show link. You can make a one-time or monthly contribution in any dollar amount. And again, thank you for your support and listening. You are listening to Are You Ready Radio with Nick Pierce, the Barefoot Prepper. Okay, everyone, and we're back. Thanks for your patience there. We took that brief time out, and we're off and rolling now. So, like I was saying, in this episode, I'm going to discuss pretty much what to do when there's no police or when the police don't show up or they're not doing anything to protect you. Recently, I was kicking around the idea of this episode for a while now. And it was going to be more of like the post-apocalyptic, what do preppers do when there is no police? The collapse of society and all that. Well, a couple weeks ago in Texas, for an hour and 17 minutes, police stood there before stopping an active shooter in a school. They stood by. Parents were yelling, "Help my children, save my children, get in there, do something." The parents are ready to go in there, and the cops are holding the parents back. So, it happened already. If you missed it, here's a quick clip.
That, are we getting a better sense of even what it was like outside the school? Because if you've got officers who are inside, like we've now established this timeline that kids are waiting in there for like 77 minutes as police arrive and don't go straight through the door to take the gunman down. Well, on the outside, we know there were law enforcement and parents absolutely panicking. Like we've seen social media videos now in which parents are trying to get past cops to save their kids that we now know were not being saved just because they feel like no one's doing.
For an hour and 17 minutes, when children are getting shot and police are standing outside. Now, I get there are certain reasons and certain tactics and whatever it is, okay? My job, I'm not here to bash the police. You'll never hear me do that. I like law enforcement. But I could just imagine how unnerving it was, to put it mildly, for these parents to be looking at a bunch of police officers armed with bulletproof vests on, standing by not doing anything.
No one is 100%. No one is at fault, but everybody screwed up. A lot of people on law enforcement, I feel, made significant errors.
Hey, and
yeah, we messed up. Yeah, it happens to the finest, I guess. I mean, in a way, they're kind of like, we made a mistake. You didn't just drop a ball or overthrow the plate or, knock it out of bounds or, fumble the football here. And I don't know if any of the police had children in that school. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. I haven't heard of any. I haven't heard of any cop that had anybody there on the scene that had children or anybody in their family in that building when it was happening. But would they have really stood by, or would they sit there with the other parents and say, hey, we need to get in there and do something? So, of course, in the midst of the shootings, and there have been over 200 mass shootings that have happened this year alone. Now, really, a mass shooting, okay, not over 200, just in 2022, and we're in June 8th now, okay? Now, first of all, mass shooting is defined as an incident that involves several victims of gun violence. Any gun? And there's really no exact definition, but you'll hear several different groups and stuff mention certain specific criteria that defines a mass shooting. Pretty much gun violent archives state that a mass shooting involves at least 4 people aside from the perpetrator of the act. Okay? There's also, and these victims also are pretty much shot in the same location or approximately the same time. And that's kind of what defines a mass shooting. Now, of course, with any mass shooting, especially, ones that get big media coverage, a lot of media attention, and the whole world knows about, those few that are all over the media, along with all those stories also comes the, we need more gun laws. And then you have other states, we're constitutional carry now. So there's a number of different issues going on. But what do you do to protect yourself when the cops don't take action? And, you look at these shooting statistics, and then you look at some of these sides that oppose gun, people's rights to bear arms and carry guns. And, it's right now, Ohio is saying, well, you have one half that's saying, oh, we shouldn't do this because of mass shootings. Yeah, the other side says, good, give us our guns so we can defend and protect ourselves and our families. So, some folks are looking at it like they want this constitutional carry. It could be a very good thing. Some folks are looking at it like, whoa, this could be a bad thing because people are going to shoot people, there's going to be more mass shootings. Well, I can't really say that's the case. Now, constitutional permitless carry has been on the rise for about 20 years. Alaska was the first state to pass it in 2003, then followed by Arizona and Wyoming in 2010, Kansas, Maine, Mississippi in 2015, Idaho, Missouri, and West Virginia in 2016, New Hampshire and North Dakota then in 2017, Arkansas 2018, Kentucky, Oklahoma, and South Dakota in 2019. All don't require a permit to carry. Iowa, Tennessee, Texas, Montana, Utah, Wyoming, all in 2021. 2021. And Ohio, Indiana, Georgia, 2022. Ohio's coming up on June 12th of this year. Alabama will be you're able to legally carry without a permit as of January 1st of 2023, beginning of next year. Okay? So when you look at the states that will say are constitutional carry, or the one that's going to be this year by the beginning of next year, you got to look at it. And you say, okay, well, most of those states, you have to be 21 and older. Arkansas's 18, Idaho's 18, Indiana, as of July 1st of this year, will be 18 years old to carry, concealed carry without a permit. Same thing with Mississippi. Missouri's 19, unless you're in military, then it's 18. Montana's 18. New Hampshire is 18. South Dakota is 18 years old. Tennessee, 21, 18 for members of the military. Texas, you have to be 21. Vermont, 18. So those are the states. Now, the other states I didn't really mention are all 21 and up, or anything that wasn't on my original list that I mentioned is just, you need a permit to carry. States like California, New York, Illinois, New Jersey. And then you really got to look at this here. Now, when you really look at this, and just look at that, when you go through the list of states that have been or are constitutional carry states, or going to be constitutional carry states, and you look at the number of mass shootings that have happened in those states, well, really, most of these states that are constitutional carry states, meaning you don't need a permit, and most of these states, you have to be 18 to conceal carry a handgun. Now, you can get a rifle, of course, whatever. Okay? States like, now, I get it. We heard the biggest one so far of the year, Texas. Okay? They're a permitless carry, constitutional carry state. You can be 21 and carry a concealed weapon. Yeah, that's what the law says. But there's states where it's still, you need a permit. Good luck getting a permit in some of these states. But when you look at the amount of shootings, okay, now we're going to go by most shootings, okay? The most shootings. It's not mass shootings, just the most shootings, okay? California, number one, with 257 so far this year alone. Very strict gun laws. Illinois, 209 shootings this year alone. More very strict gun laws. New York, 96 shootings this year alone. Very strict gun laws. I mean, Pennsylvania's up there at 92. Strict gun laws. So when you look at some of these states that have some of the strictest gun laws, those are the states with the most shootings. So people like to argue, okay, well, we need more gun laws. Well, wait a minute. The more gun laws you have, you also have more shootings. See, people that support this constitutional carry and permitless carry and all this, like I said, we're going to go both ways on it. This could be a good thing or a bad thing. We'll get to that here in a second. Let's not rush this. Setting the foundation here. So, they want to pass more laws to keep people from carrying guns. Okay. First of all, there are a lot of laws. 1 more, 100 more, no laws, when it comes to guns, are not going to matter. There's also laws. Take the Uvalde, Texas shooter, okay? There are laws that say you're not supposed to drive without a license. So there's no way he could have been able to even get in the truck to get to the school because he wasn't supposed to be driving. If maybe big trucks couldn't go so fast, he wouldn't have got there as fast. There's some logic for you. Well, if he needed a license to drive, then he wouldn't have been able to drive the truck. Well, he needed a license to drive. That's the law. But he went there with the intention of shooting students. But wait a minute, hold on a second. How could that be? There's a sign on the door. It's a gun-free zone. Yeah, all these shootings do happen in gun-free areas. Most of them, yeah. You're not paying attention to the sign. They're not following the law that says you're not supposed to have a gun in a school. They didn't follow the law that says you're not supposed to drive without a license to get to the school. They're not following the law that once you get to the school and you bring the gun in there, there's another law that says murder is illegal. You're not supposed to murder people either. But they do. He did. So what other laws do we need? The answer is you don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what law you pass. It doesn't matter what's written on the piece of paper. The criminals are not reading it and they're not following it. Maybe they read it. Whatever. I don't follow laws. Look what I'm doing. I'm not going to follow laws. That's what criminals are saying. They don't need to follow the law. They think they're above the law. Yes. I'm sure most of them are sick. But mental defect is no excuse not to follow the law, or at least be aware of what the law is. So, of course, that comes into play, prosecuting the crime and all that, and are they competent to stand trial, and, mentally, they take the insanity approach and all this. But, it's not as easy to play the insanity card as you think it is. So, constitutional carry now in Ohio and many other states now. If this is going to go one of two ways. People are going to be very careful before pulling a gun out if more people around them may be carrying. There's really not going to be as many soft targets anymore. I mean, all the gun-free zones are. Those are soft targets. But people are going to think twice before they shoot up a Walmart. Again. It's happened quite a bit, folks. People are going to think twice before maybe opening fire in the next church. If everybody in that congregation can now conceal carry without a permit, one or two people going into some place now, a couple hundred people in it, you're outnumbered. And of course there's the other side, which I'm going to get into after this brief timeout. I'm Nick Pierce, the Barefoot Prepper. You are listening to Are You Ready Radio. Stick around, more on the topic and what to do when there's no police coming up.
Find Are You Ready on Facebook and Instagram at Are You Ready Radio. You can also visit our home on the web. Just go to nickpiercemedia.com and click on the program's link. If you missed the live show, you can listen to the show's archives on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, CastBox, Deezer, and many more, including our home on Spreaker. When a disaster happens, are you ready? Do you have the supplies you need to keep you and your family safe and survive? The Zombie Outpost store in Wilmington, Ohio, at Cedar Creek Flea Market, stocks quality gear you need to be ready for the next emergency or even a camping trip. Visit zombieoutpoststore.com for location and hours. Check out our assortment of essentials you need when the next disaster happens. Go to zombieoutpoststore.com. Get 10% off at checkout when you mention Are You Ready Radio. Be ready and be prepared.
In this digital society, making connections is quickly becoming a lost art form. Yet, if you are a small business owner, building your network is the only way you can get ahead. Can these skills be learned? You bet they can. Read Nose to Nose Networking. No nonsense, in-person networking tips from a master. Who's the master? Well, who better to teach networking and friend-building skills than a golden retriever? The author, Melanie Hope, takes the antics of Abigail and translates them into the human experience. Through Abby, you will learn how to set your intention, build a network, and get into and out of conversations with grace. If you love the Dog Abby segments on Counterculture-Wise Radio, you will love Nose to Nose Networking even more. Find it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble in hard copy, Kindle, and Nook. Visit counterculturewise.com for direct links.
Greetings and salutations, Counterculture-Wise listeners. This is Maximilian von Riegelbieser inviting you and yours to listen to me and mine. Join me, my sisters Abby and Fritzy, and my weekly guests, my father Jim and Mumsy Melanie, for Counterculture-Wise.
Max, it's not your show!
And we're not your guests, Max. We're the hosts. You may want to rein it in a little bit, buddy.
Very well. Tune in every Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific at counterculturewise.com for our amazing live variety show. You can even chat with us. If you ask me, though, it should be called Counterculture Max.
Counterculture Wise! Radio with heart and mind.
Got a spare tire around that waist? Is your muffin top over the top? Do you binge eat uncontrollably? We are the government and we are here to help you. Here at our free FEMA weight loss camp, we have numerous ways to help you shed those unsightly, unwanted pounds. FEMA, or Fatties Eating Mitigated, automatically has a communist-style weight loss czar that specializes in centralized weight loss planning and communal extended fasting programs to shed that fat away in no time. Skin and boned means extra toned is the motto. Just remember, there is no way you can do it on your own. We will forcefully assist you into compliance. Failure is not an option in this utopian wonderland. How fantastic. Typical workout regimes include digging ditches and restocking them with dirt, building railways and more. Get life skills while you get lean. How do you join? Simple. Recite the Constitution in a public commons or violate the Patriot Act that includes simple misdemeanors. It's really that easy to get your own fenced-in slice of Americana. Stop being a fatty. The state is your daddy.
If you like what you are listening to, we appreciate your support. A small contribution from you, the listeners, can continue to help bring you such content and help keep things going here, even if it's just $1 a month. Keep in mind, though, in the spirit of prepping, we believe in redundancy, so it's better to have more than one, but every little bit helps pay the bills. Go to nickpiercemedia.com and click on the Support the Show link. You can make a one-time or monthly contribution in any dollar amount. And again, thank you for your support and listening. You are listening to Are You Ready Radio with Nick Pierce, the Barefoot Prepper. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Nick Pierce, the Barefoot Prepper. You are listening to Are You Ready Radio. Glad you stayed around for the rest of this. So, before the break, we were talking about, of course, the constitutional carry states, and Ohio becoming one, and a number of other states throughout the year and into next year. 2 others will be joining the other states that are already constitutional carry, and what that means. Now, we were looking at it because, obviously, before the break, I was talking about, the benefits of this. And how, it's going to deter a lot of people from maybe pulling a gun out to try to do something that they're not supposed to do with it. Because if everybody around them is armed, you're going to have a lot more people now. They're going to really be outnumbered. And, so people are going to think twice before shooting up a Walmart, a church, and hopefully maybe a school again. Maybe things will change there, because there's also a lot of talk about teachers being armed and taking training to be in classrooms, armed, to be able to protect the students. What if another incident like this happens? For an hour and 17 minutes when the police are not in there, teachers, if they were armed, would be able to do something pretty quick. They're already there. So they just need to act. You don't have to wait for them to get there. So... also, as far as the constitutional carry thing, before the break I was saying, like I said, this could go one way or the other. And, I think it'll be for the benefit. People, a majority of them are responsible, and they can be responsible gun owners, too. You still have to go through a background check. You just don't have that, when I got my CCW, it was like a 10-hour course. And then you have to, you have to get through the county and you pay that fee. And they do another background check on you, and you get a concealed carry license. It's a permit to carry a weapon concealed, and you have other benefits of it too. You don't have to unload it when riding in your car. You can wear it on you, so it's at the ready if you need it. You don't have to, while someone's shooting at you, go in the trunk, unlock it, load it, maybe put ammo in the magazine, whatever, before you can actually start using it to fire back. You'll be shot and dead by the time you do all that anyway. So, this makes a lot of sense. So, I would encourage people to at least maybe take the training class. I told my mother I'm going to send her through it and pay for it and all that. And now, even though she doesn't need to get a concealed carry permit, I'd still want her to take the training. There are things that she's going to learn in the class that she may be more receptive to than hearing it from me. She'll get the experience on the range from me, but the class is very beneficial when it comes to the laws, safe handling, and all that. So my instructor was great. He really covered the law and the legal aspect of it a lot, and I found that very fascinating. Other instructors I've heard, really focus on a lot of the safety and all that. That's great. I mean, he covered everything. Maybe I just paid attention to the legal and law side of it more. And, I've had guns for quite a while, even before I took the course. So, I've always been safe with them. I've always been responsible. And even the kids, my nephew's and niece, I teach them how to handle them safely. And we go to the range together, and they know how to, one in particular is very good at it. He can take them apart and clean them. He knows how to care for them. He knows how to safely handle it, how to store it, and all that. And, he's very into it. So, it would be important to take the course. Because here's the bad side of this. Okay? You're going to have a lot of gun-toting people out there without the training. A lot of people are now like, I have that gun at home. Now I can conceal carry it anywhere I want. Okay. First of all, most of these people have maybe been open carrying all this time. For whatever reason. Maybe they couldn't afford to do a license. Maybe they wouldn't pass the background check to, conceal carry. Who knows? But they've probably been open carrying anyway. They already have the gun on them. Okay. So you just knew who had a gun and who didn't. Here's where this could go wrong. Most people that shouldn't have a gun are not walking around open carrying the gun anyway. They probably have it concealed, even though it's against the law. Because remember, maybe they shouldn't have the gun. Assuming that maybe they are allowed to have the gun, and they conceal carry. Or maybe they don't have a level of training now, so they conceal carry. Some people may misread signals. Some people may misread the situation. Some people that haven't been through the course may go to take a shot at a threat that may mean them great bodily harm, injury, and all that, and death. Okay? And they may have a right to defend themselves in a situation. But if they don't have some training, what if they don't know? Don't just look at your target, look at what's beyond the target. Sometimes people may misread signals. When do you get involved and draw your gun? Okay? You may have quite a few people that are going to be heroes now. Think they're going to be heroes. You're going to have people that may misread someone's behavior. Maybe they're going to misjudge something. There's a number of things that could go wrong with this. I would kind of feel safer out of 100 people with 5 being trained and concealed carrying versus 90 of those people that are not trained that may be carrying concealed. Some guy may be having a dispute, a little scuffle with a cashier in the food store, and the coupon's not working, or the thing didn't ring up right, and there's a circular, or this was on his phone, or this was a coupon that he had. Reaches in his back pocket to pull a phone, and some guy in line may think he's about to pull out a gun and react. This could be either a really good thing, or I'm sure there's going to be a few kinks to iron out. Okay, but I see more positive in it because now you never know. Even when you had concealed carry and you had a permit, you still never knew. But now you got a lot more people out there that will be exercising their constitutional right to carry. So we'll see where that goes. And hope for the best. If it doesn't work, it can always be changed. But going back is going to be really hard. Got to keep the right people. Got to keep the right people that want this in there. This way we can all have it. And we'll see what happens. Now, will that increase mass shootings? No. Because, like I said earlier, the states like California, Illinois, New York that have really strict gun control laws on the books, and you can't carry, without a permit, and it's almost impossible to get a permit to carry in California, New York, have, so far this year alone, shootings in general, not mass shootings, 257 in California, 209 in Illinois, 96 in New York State. So 92 in Pennsylvania. So when you look at it, whether you can conceal carry with a permit or without a permit, it doesn't matter. States with the strictest laws already have these, high numbers beyond any other state. I know Florida and Texas are up there, but, let's see. So, another thing you'll hear is maybe raising the age or mental problems and this, that, and the other. And they always say that as soon as something like this happens, they look at, oh my God, the scary looking gun. The gun looks very scary. And we can't have scary guns. Scary looking guns. And they throw a term at it. We all know the term. We'll get to that in a second. So there's also talk about raising the age to buy certain weapons from 18 to 21. Well, the average age of all the mass shooters, the average age, every mass shooter, all of them, over all these years, the average age is 33. So what do you do? Just say, well, we're going to have to raise the age to 34? We'll just duck the number. We'll just make it work. Yeah, but then when someone 34 does it, we got to go to 35? You have to be 100 years old? And what other laws do you want? In the research I've done, there's about 300 different gun laws in the United States. I know you may have heard the magic number of over 20,000 laws. There's over 20,000. But that's not accurate at all. And there's also many laws on the books that are meant to deter mass shootings, but those are not followed either by these people. So it doesn't matter what the age is. I mean, I was watching an episode of Live PD a couple weeks ago. Cop goes in a hotel room, a bunch of teens are having a party, they're drinking, they're smoking, they're whatever. And they're in this hotel room, maybe 4 kids, 4 or 5 kids, some girls with them, whatever. They were all like 16, 18, if that. I think they were all minors. So 17, 16, one of them I think was 15, whatever. Well, they're too young to drink. They're too young to smoke. They're too young to whatever. They're probably in a state that had strict marijuana laws, so they probably shouldn't have had weed either. And and how they got the hotel, who knows? They can't have a credit card. They're too young. You have to be 18. Maybe you can. I don't know. Parents get their kids credit cards. But you know what I'm saying? And then, all of a sudden, cops find more alcohol, and they find weed, and then they start they start flipping the mattresses, and there's guns. Handguns. 3 different handguns. So, wait a minute. They're not allowed to have guns. They're not even 18 yet. But they are. They're doing a lot of things wrong. And what type of firearms? Well, if you look at all the firearms used, the types of firearms and all the mass shootings, now these statistics go back as far as 1982. I guess was when they started keeping records of this. From 1982 to 2022. A number of incidents, weapons used per an incident. Okay? So there were 146 handguns used in 98 different instances. Let's see. Rifles, 60 rifles used in 52 incidents. Shotguns, 30 shotguns used in 26 different events. Okay? That means that 76% of mass shootings were carried out using handguns over rifles and shotguns combined. Not these scary assault rifles everyone is talking about. Because what is an assault rifle? Okay, an assault rifle is a rapid-fire, magazine-fed, automatic rifle designed for infantry use. A rifle or any firearm is automatic due to their ability to fire more than one shot in succession once the trigger is pulled. In other words, a machine gun. These are not machine guns. The most recent shootings are not machine guns. In the 200 this year, I don't think anybody's reported that an automatic weapon was used in any of them. So it's not that you hear the people talk about these assault weapons just because they look scary. Because someone thinks they look scary. And I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of sound clips from some whiny Karen who's scary guns offend me, and all this. And no one wants to hear an old man stutter. So clips of the president are out. I think even CNN's sick of hearing that. Besides, by the end of whatever he's going to say, he's going to make up something. He's going to be an astronaut or something like that. I mean, really, okay, yeah, shootings are horrible. Look at other causes of death, though. Motor vehicles. They want to legislate and get rid of immunity of gun manufacturing. They want to get rid of, they want to ban certain weapons and all that. What are they going to do? Ban the truck that he used to drive to the school in, too? Now, think about it. With the country reopening, okay, the number of miles driven in March 2022 increased 2.9% compared to March of 2021. Okay? That's up 1.8 from 2019. The number of deaths from March of 2022 are estimated to be between 3,570 just in motor vehicle accidents. That's up 3% from 2021, up 25% compared to 2020. Okay? Drinking and driving kills 28 people a day in the U.S. That's about one person every 52 minutes. And that's according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. That's more than 10,000 lives lost each year to drunk driving. So, wait a minute. But they're not going after the alcohol companies. They're not going after the vehicle manufacturers. But because it's a shooting, yes, someone decided to get drunk and drive behind the wheel. Just like someone decided to use a gun to kill people. This guy decided to kill people in their car. Okay? Happened 10,000 times. Or 10,000 lives were lost last year. Due to drunk driving. So, here we are. What else do you want to do? What other laws do we need? It's illegal to drive drunk. It happens. It's illegal to shoot people. It happens. Well, it's illegal to murder people. It's not necessarily illegal to shoot people. I'll rephrase that. You can shoot someone if you believe your life is in danger. You can shoot him. You have a right to shoot him. You have a right to defend yourself. If they're going to shoot you, I hope you shoot them first. So, you can shoot people. It's legal. Murder is not. So, yeah. Where do you stand on it? Chime in the chat room. I'd like to know. Or call a number. But chime in the chat room. I'd like to see what you say. And maybe you have a better idea. What are your ideas? You can get to the chat room if you go to Spreaker, Spreaker, Spreaker.com. Just find Are You Ready? Search Are You Ready? And you'll, if you're listening to the live show, you can chat with us during the broadcast. Right now, if you'd like. So, here we go. Would it be better as a constitutional carry state, no permit needed, or not? I'd like to hear your thoughts on that as well. But now, let's look at the main topic of this program. When there are no police. Has it happened? Yes. Will it happen? Yes. Is it still happening? Yes, it is. I have 2 stories I'm going to share with you, and just first-hand knowledge, and also, of course it's still happening. It's been happening for quite a while. Police are, they either, don't show up, they, maybe they're dispatched, but something else more important comes along. And, also think about it. Do the police really have a duty to really protect you? And I'm going to get into that and legal side of that as well. And, for example, the blue flu. I don't know if anybody's heard of that, or maybe you've heard of it, but the blue flu. Police just call out. And it happened. It's still happening all over the country.
Dozens of Atlanta police officers calling out for a 3rd straight day now.
The sick out, or the so-called blue flu, beginning right after the Fulton County DA said he was charging 2 officers in Rayshard Brooks' death.
Well, Atlanta police officers tell us today that in Zone 5, 25 officers called in sick. Now that's everyone except for the 3 supervisors.
Thank you for joining us tonight. 5 out of 7 police officers called out sick today, leaving the city of Columbus without a full patrol force.
The officers who called in sick make up more than 70% of the shift.
So, what is a police officer's job? Is it really to protect you? The job of a police officer is to maintain public order and safety, enforce the law, and it's also preventing, detecting, and investigating criminal activity. I'll say this, though, to put it in perspective. And in no way do I say this to lower the importance of the police and any first responders at all. So don't take it that way. Remember, it is just a job. And just like any job, an individual or team performs a function according to their job description. If they don't do the job the way the boss expects them to, they may get verbally coached, reprimanded, written up, in the role of law enforcement, suspended, extra vacation time with or without pay, or like anyone else that sucks at their job, and the boss has had enough, they get fired. But again, legally, are they at fault if they do not protect you, if they do not respond? I'm going to get into that, especially the legal side, and then what to do when we don't have the police anymore. So what if they are? Post hits the Shan scenario, when the cops are at home, sheltered in place or bugged out, protecting their family, when it's every man, woman, or tribe, whatever, for themselves. Who is the new law enforcement? Stick around. I'm Nick Pierce, the Barefoot Prepper. We'll be right back.
Find Are You Ready on Facebook and Instagram at Are You Ready Radio. You can also visit our home on the web. Just go to nickpiercemedia.com and click on the program's link. If you missed the live show, you can listen to the show's archives on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, CastBox, Deezer, and many more, including our home on Spreaker. When a disaster happens, are you ready? Do you have the supplies you need to keep you and your family safe and survive? The Zombie Outpost store in Wilmington, Ohio, at Cedar Creek Flea Market, stocks quality gear you need to be ready for the next emergency or even a camping trip. Visit zombieoutpoststore.com for location and hours. Check out our assortment of essentials you need when the next disaster happens. Go to zombieoutpoststore.com. Get 10% off at checkout when you mention Are You Ready Radio. Be ready and be prepared.
In this digital society, making connections is quickly becoming a lost art form. Yet, if you are a small business owner, building your network is the only way you can get ahead. Can these skills be learned? You bet they can. Read Nose to Nose Networking. No nonsense, in-person networking tips from a master. Who's the master? Well, who better to teach networking and friend-building skills than a golden retriever? The author, Melanie Hope, takes the antics of Abigail and translates them into the human experience. Through Abby, you will learn how to set your intention, build a network, and get into and out of conversations with grace. If you love the Dog Abby segments on Counterculture-Wise Radio, you will love Nose to Nose Networking even more. Find it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble in hard copy, Kindle, and Nook. Visit counterculturewise.com for direct links.
Hey, how you doing? This is Magic Pierce inviting you and yours to listen to some good friends of mine that have a show too. Did you really think my daddy is the only one that just runs his mouth all the time and that's the only thing I listen to? No, it's not. I got a show I listen to on Sundays. Join host Max and his co-host, my hottie Fritzy, and of course my good friend Abby on Counterculture-Wise, Sundays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. They have their own human guests, Melanie and Jim, each week. They don't meow a lot, but you get what they're saying. Now let me tell you, you have to go to counterculturewise.com. Use your paws to play with the mouse and scroll down to the on-the-air button on the right to hear their show. Just click on that. After that, watch them on Periscope like I do. Daddy gives me a little mouse to play with, and I give hearts the whole time. It's a great show. Check it out. Counterculturewise.com. If you don't tune in, I get cuckoos on you.
Thank you so much for that ringing endorsement, Magic. It warms the orange hearts of me and Abby and the gray heart of Fritzy to hear you say such amazing things about our show. I'm pretty sure that Mumsy and Father have pink hearts, so we will assume their hearts are warmed too.
Forget about it. I got you guys. Good peoples.
Got a spare tire around that waist? Is your muffin top over the top? Do you binge eat uncontrollably? We are the government and we are here to help you. Here at our free FEMA weight loss camp, we have numerous ways to help you shed those unsightly, unwanted pounds. FEMA, or Fatties Eating Mitigated, automatically has a communist-style weight loss czar that specializes in centralized weight loss planning and communal extended fasting programs to shed that fat away in no time. Skin and boned means extra toned is the motto. Just remember, there is no way you can do it on your own. We will forcefully assist you into compliance. Failure is not an option in this utopian wonderland. How fantastic. Typical workout regimes include digging ditches and restocking them with dirt, building railways and more. Get life skills while you get lean. How do you join? Simple. Recite the Constitution in a public commons, or violate the Patriot Act that includes simple misdemeanors. It's really that easy to get your own fenced-in slice of Americana. Stop being a fatty. The state is your daddy.
If you like what you are listening to, we appreciate your support. A small contribution from you, the listeners, can continue to help bring you such content and help keep things going here, even if it's just $1 a month. Keep in mind, though, in the spirit of prepping, we believe in redundancy, so it's better to have more than one, but every little bit helps pay the bills. Go to nickpiercemedia.com and click on the Support the Show link. You can make a one-time or monthly contribution in any dollar amount. And again, thank you for your support and listening.
You are listening to Are You Ready Radio with Nick Pierce, the Barefoot Prepper.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Nick Pierce, the Barefoot Prepper. You are listening to Are You Ready? And this episode, we are talking about when there is no police. Now, leading up to this here, pretty much most of the episode, is there really a duty by the police? Do they have a duty to protect? The answer really is no. They really don't. Courts have repeatedly ruled that police and the government in general have no duty at all to protect you from harm. Now, there are state laws that may vary, but no federal law forces police to show up and help you. I mean, if you ever called the cops to an accident, a traffic accident, minor or major. I mean, a major accident, oh, I'm sure they would. But a minor accident, oh, someone rear-ended me, everybody's okay. Maybe there's a lot of damage, both cars are drivable, whatever. But sometimes they may never show up. And 2 instances where cops didn't show up, both my neighbor and I, we both called. There was someone riding around on dirt bikes behind where we live, on our property. And finally I scared him off. But you know, I know he waited out there for maybe a good 2 hours. No one ever showed up. I thought, let me know. I got to get back to work. You know, so can you really seek damages if police don't protect you? So when the police don't come, are they even liable? I mean, if someone breaks into your house, maybe your ex-boyfriend calls you up and says, he's going to kill you. Maybe you've beaten repeatedly by someone, maybe domestic violence. Who can you call to protect you? The police? Well, not really. You can try calling the police. Whether they come to help you or not is a whole other matter. See, police department get hundreds of thousands of calls. A statistic from the National Emergency Number Association estimates that an estimated 657,000 calls are made to 911 every day across the country. Okay? So if you ever call the police officer, sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. And if they don't show up, we'll say a minor car crash. Okay, that's no big deal. Okay? But what if the police don't show up and someone broke into your house and is threatening your life? What if they shoot you in the head? Can your loved one sue the police for not showing up to protect you? And is it a civil or a constitutional right to receive help? Well, there really is no duty to protect. So, in some cases, you may be able to pursue a civil lawsuit. You can seek damages from other people involved in an incident, such as the person that breaks into your house or that crashes into your car. And, you know, maybe for injuries, you talk to a personal injury lawyer, you know, whatever involves an accident. Civil rights, lawyers, if you believe that there's police misconduct. If it involves criminal charges, you're going to need a criminal attorney. But court after court, different jurisdictions around the country have ruled that, for example, Warren v. District of Columbia. Okay, two women called the police after hearing intruders attack another woman in their home. The police assured them that help was on the way. The police never showed up. The two women, hearing silence, thought police had arrived and went downstairs to help their friend. The intruders were still there, and the three women were repeatedly raped and assaulted for hours. In siding with the government, the court stated that it is a fundamental principle that the government and its agents are under no general duty to provide public service such as police protection to any particular individual citizens. It wasn't the cops' fault. There was another case. Someone sued a county social services department. And the plaintiff was repeatedly beaten and abused by his father to the point that he suffered permanent brain damage. The County Department of Social Services knew about the father's frequent abuse but did nothing to take steps to remove the boy from his home and protect him from the father. The Supreme Court, Supreme Court, ruled that even though the government knew about the harm the boy faced, there was no special relationship that would impose a duty to protect. That's a child. So can you take an individual officer to court? Well, since the police have no duty to protect you, you have no claim against them for failing to show up when you call. Even if you can't sue the police for your injury, like I said earlier, you may be able to sue an attacker in civil court. Someone more experienced in litigation may be able to answer that better than I can to see how that would go. To see even if there is probable cause, you may be able to bring a criminal or civil suit against individual officers, depending on what happens. And it's a crime, for example, the use of force, false arrest, police brutality, wrongful death, and other police criminal cases that obviously we've heard about, especially over the past few years. And you may be able to win punitive damages from them, but the police really don't have a duty to protect you. So what happens when there is no police? When the police do not show up? What do you do? How do you get ready for something like that? Well, again, look at the main functions of what the police really do. Police typically are responsible for managing public order and safety, enforcing the law, preventing, detecting, and investigating criminal activities. So now you know what the job is. And now you have to find the delicate, legal, by-the-book way of doing it. Because remember, even if it hits the Shan situation, even though maybe there's the big collapse, maybe it's an EMP, maybe it's the big storm, maybe it's whatever it is you've been prepping for, when that's over and everything's restored, you may still be held accountable for your actions under whatever the law was at the time, based on our government, or whatever the new laws are. So, you don't want anything that may come back and get you in trouble if or when the hits a Shan situation is over. Understanding the parameters the police are supposed to function in will help you stay out of trouble too. So, what do? Well, if you know the law, you abide by the law. Now, of course, post-apocalyptic hits the Shan situation, there's going to be a lot of things that are different. There's going to be a lot of changes. You're going to be dealing with stuff that you've never had to deal with before. You're going to have to know how to defend yourself. You're going to have to maintain that defensive edge over someone that means you harm. So whether you believe in firearms or not, whether you believe in violence or not, You're going to have to be ready. And of course, avoiding a situation is always best. If you cannot be in an area or a situation and avoid it from the beginning, that's great. But if the situation comes to you and there's no help, there's no backup, you're going to need to be ready to deal with it. You're going to have to. So, okay, how do we do this? Well, look at training that law enforcement goes through. Just like anything else. Look at training that medics go through. And you learn first aid, and you learn CPR, and you learn certain skills, and you learn how to maybe do stitches, how to do CPR, how to bandage wounds, how to set bones, how to put a cast on. Okay? There's a number of things that you can learn, just like learning first aid and basic first aid all the way to advanced first aid. Think of law enforcement or, being able to respond and reply and react to a situation the way the police do. They go through training. So you're going to need to get some background on it. Again, start with the basics. Start with, maybe just simple things like conditioning, situational awareness, observation. There's a number of exercises that you can do to help with that. And, of course, self-defense, hand-to-hand. Maybe using certain weapons. Do you have pepper spray? Do you have a stun gun? Do you have a baton? If you need to restrain someone, do you have the techniques? Have you practiced the techniques? Are you able to? Do you have the numbers? Do you have a network? In our neighborhood, there's a core group of neighbors that, there's certain people where the crew messes with because they know. Doing something with us is like doing something right in front of the police department. So no one breaks into the police department. No one is, spray painting the police department. No one is. Well, okay. We're gonna go outside of all the protests and stuff and move on. That aside, I'm sure everybody's burned down the police department in some of these cities. They've vandalized the police department. They've already done all that. But typically, people are not going to try to commit a crime in front of, on, or in the police department. I don't know if anybody says, I'm going to go steal a car, and we're going to go to the police department and steal it. Okay? So, it's not smart. I mean, we know criminals are not smart. But a great majority of them are not that dumb. So the point I was making here is that we have our own little kind of like neighborhood community watch. And they know all of us have our specialties. Whether it's de-escalating, whether it's the muscle, whether it's the firepower. We all have our specialties. Observation, surveillance. We know what's going on. We ignore a lot of it. But when something goes wrong, and we can address it. And we know not everything's a 911 call. Some things you just gotta, you can pretty much handle by yourself. But when someone's repeatedly driving through your yard on dirt bikes, and, one of them almost runs someone over, that may be a matter to maybe get law enforcement involved. At the same time, I mean, we can't just say, okay, the cops aren't coming, enough's enough, and just knock them off their bikes. See, that would be almost like assault. And if one of them got hurt, now, keep in mind, we don't know exactly how old they were, but they're on dirt bikes. They could just be two kids riding around. Now, I have two nephews and a niece. If one of them was riding around, maybe they were being stupid. And I'd definitely give it to them, or, their parents would definitely see to it that, you don't do that in a residential, if you lived out in the country somewhere, that's one thing, but not in a neighborhood like this. So, you ride it on the streets. No big deal. I don't care. Oh, it's not street legal? Well, you can't ride on people's property either. So, you can't just knock them off. I mean, I could have easily just shoved a stick in their spokes and they would have never done it again. But if they got hurt, I wouldn't want that to happen to my nephews or my niece. I wouldn't want that to happen to anybody. So what if they are kids? They got to be kids. They're dumb. Stupid move. But, we scared them away. We did. We could to scare them away. They didn't come back. My neighbor wasn't happy. The cops never showed up. He was already in his car trying to run them off on the streets and everything because they would go through the back and down the road and back through, and it was ridiculous. So, you have to be able to show restraint, just like law enforcement should show some restraint. You have to have patience. You have to be able to observe, judge a situation, make a good call. So that, just like the police have to function, they don't want to get in trouble, you don't want to get in trouble. And you also have to be prepared to use either non-lethal or lethal force when necessary to either neutralize the subject or, if they mean you harm and death, then if they're going to take your life, you have to be ready to take theirs. And by doing this and having this conversation with your neighbors and other people that you trust in your community, when the police aren't around, you kind of already have your own little police force in place, which is great when the fit hits the fan. It also gives you the advantage to know what they have and how you stack up to maybe how much ammo you have. Maybe your skills. Not everything after the fit hits the fan. Everybody may not be friends. It may not all go as well as it was going during normal times. So you want to make sure that, not everything is going to be peaches and cream. And, of course, never reveal everything that you have. But just what's needed to make sure that everybody's effective. Yeah, we have radios. We all have each other's phone numbers. We all have certain things. And really, when the police don't show up, it's really no big deal. We can just take care of it. But we do it in a lawful way. Because like I said, post-fit hits the fan, when everything comes back to normal, if it does, you may have the law to answer to. So you have to keep that in mind. So some valuable skills to know. Self-defense, conditioning. You want to also work on your physical conditioning. Can you run, jump over obstacles? How proficient are you with driving? I'm not talking about just going to the store and being one of the only people in your neighborhood that knows how to parallel park. I'm talking about, maybe evasion, getting away from someone. You're calling the police. You may not know where you are, and you really can't direct them to really where you are. So you're trying to get away. You want to get away. Do you have certain devices that can help you get away? Are your driving skills proficient enough to be able to safely maneuver a vehicle to get away? You should at least be able to do some basic maneuvers that maybe you've seen in pursuit shows, and talk to professionals that know what they're doing and how to do it to teach you how to do it. Practice it in a safe area that's not going to hurt anybody or damage your vehicle or hurt you. Have you taken firearms classes? If you don't own a gun, have you at least been to a range and know how to safely handle it, operate it, and store it? Do you have the equipment you need? If you think that someone may be in someone's yard or something that you don't recognize, do you have a strong enough flashlight to be able to search, to look? You may not have to go outside. Maybe you don't want to put yourself in danger, but sometimes something strong enough to reach just through, from your window over into the neighbor's yard is enough to deter or scare the person away. So there's a number of things that you can do when there is no police, when you have to become your own police. And there are some neighborhoods, some cities, where the citizens are making their own citizen community police force. Because they've lived in cities where the cops aren't available, there's not enough cops, the police don't show up, and for years. I mean, literally, I was living in a town that had 2 police officers, plus a chief. Then they were down to just the chief and 1 police officer. And eventually the mayor just decided to get rid of the whole police department. Yeah, it was a really small town. But then, it was when I first moved out to Ohio. But then it turned into a county. Sheriff would then take the calls. So even though everything was routed through the county to the local police department, well, that added a lot of response time. The neighbors, when they needed a cop, it was just like, we just kind of did our own thing. We really didn't depend or rely on the sheriff to come out because the police department was gone now. So there's a number of things that you can do, a number of skills that you can learn, and some gear that you should have to be able to be your own police. And maybe this is not just for the whole neighborhood. Maybe this is not your community. Talk to police officers. Talk to people that train police officers. Take a class in self-defense. Take a class in certain techniques that law enforcement uses so that you know how to handle a situation, both physically and mentally and verbally. There's also a lot of de-escalation techniques that you should know so that half the situations can be diffused. Not everything when you think of police, not everything when you think of, we're talking intruders and the guns and death and break-ins and stuff like that. No, not everything is a physical confrontation or interaction. Sometimes it's just a matter of de-escalating a fight between 2 people. So, there was an episode I did on confrontation and certain things like that. Take a listen to it. I can't remember the date off the top of my head. But confrontation and all that and de-escalating it and what is confrontation. And it was recently, in the past few weeks, maybe last month or 2. But yeah, listen to that episode. Start there. And like I said, take those self-defense classes. Go to a range. Learn about safe firearm handling. Know how to shoot when you need to shoot. And have the tools you need to maybe be at least the police officer for your home and your family. Well, I hope that I helped you seriously think, prepare, and answer the question, are you ready? I'm Nick Pierce, the Barefoot Prepper. I would like to thank everyone for tuning in and the support you give the show. Our guests, the callers, our friends in chat, listeners, clients, customers, everybody at the store, everything. Find Are You Ready on Facebook and Instagram at Are You Ready Radio. You can also find us on the web at nickpiercemedia.com. Click on the program's link. Find us on your favorite podcast platforms and on our home on Spreaker. To contribute to the show, go to Nick Pierce Media and click on the Support the Show link. Are You Ready Radio is the official podcast of Zombie Outpost in Wilmington, Ohio, and is an NP Media Group production.